Je traîne dans tes métros, tes trottoirs même un peu trop. Je rêve dans tes bistrots. Je m'assois sur tes bancs, je regarde tes monuments, je trinque à la santé.
It means this, mother, it means this. My father was publicly disgraced and we are ruined.
Disgraced, Albert? Are you sure?
It's true beyond a doubt. The case came up for inquiry this evening in the Chamber of Deputies.
Were you present at this inquiry, my son?
No, the members of the public weren't admitted, but I had a report from my good friend Belchamp, the newspaper man.
Oh, I see. Go on.
My father arrived punctual in the chamber at 8 o'clock. The case was put before him. There was reminded of the charge against him, which had appeared unsigned in 2 different newspapers. The charges were that in the year 1823, when he was a captain in the French army, he received bribes from the enemy and gave to them the castle of Yarnia.
And what did your father say to those charges?
That they were untrue.
Did he prove that they were false?
He couldn't lose, so he cannot prove, he said, but he spoke with such boldness and spirit that everyone believed him. At the last minute, a witness appeared, a strange lady who was at Yarnia at the same time the castle was given up. She brought with her proof, receipt, and witness that my father had received money from the enemy and sold his country. After the deputies had seen these proofs, and no one was in doubt as to his guilt, and mother, we are disgraced and ruined.
Did your father still say the charge was false?
Not at all, mother. He seemed quite overcome. He turned pale with fear. When the deputy spoke against him, he rushed from the chamber, shouting like a madman.
Oh, then we are indeed ruined. My son, what can you do now? What can you say?
What can I do? My first disgrace mine, the name of our theft dragged down into the mud. I shall leave Paris and change my name. But there is a thing I must do first. I must find my father's enemy and punish him.
And who has done this thing? Who do you mean to kill, my son? Will you kill the President of the Republic and all the deputies?
The crime is not there. They are acting according to the proof. But there is a man, a weak man, who is behind all this thing.
But who is he, my son?
How should I know? He is a man who wrote those articles for the newspaper. A man who knows the every past of my father and is determined to cause his punishment.
But if your father is a traitor, then why punish the person who has made his disloyalty public?
Why? Why indeed? This is no longer a matter of right or wrong, of truth or falsehood. This is a matter of our family honor and our good name.
And how will you find this man?
I cannot do it myself, so I asked to my friend Belchamp to discover who he is. If Belchamp fails, I shall ask to the Count of Montecristo.
The Count of Montecristo? There you have a friend indeed. Why didn't you ask from his help from the first, my son? The Count is powerful and rich, and has been like a father to you. If you must have revenge, then why not get the Count to help you?
Because he is out of Paris, I hope we shall need the help of the Count. If Belchamp succeeds in his inquiries, I shall know the name of my father's enemy and let him escape if he can.
The Count of Montecristo.
Madame, your servant. It is my duty upon returning to Paris from any journey to pay my respects to you, the Countess of Morcerf.
Sir, in my poor home you are ever welcome. For your many kindness to me and to my son, I am your most humble and grateful servant.
And Albert, my young friend, but I see the sadness in your face. I see you met with misfortune since we last met in Normandy.
My Lord Count, I need hardly have to you if you will nature my misfortune. Our Paris is really great. You will hear her about the disgrace of my father.
Yes, I've heard of it, and I've heard it is well deserved. But what do you mean to do, Albert? What are your plans for the future?
What are my plans? Well, first I will find the name of my enemy and revenge myself.
And on whom do you plan to revenge yourself?
Belchamp promised to assist me, and I believe he is really near to find the name of my enemy.
And once you find this enemy, what do you plan to do with him?
I shall fight with him, and once I probably will be my second Count.
That might prove difficult. Besides, you know my opinion of duels. If a man has insulted you or struck a blow, then a duel might be a good way of dealing with him. But when a man has done you a deadly wrong, has made you suffer long and deeply, then you must treat him as he has treated you, An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is the rule I follow.
But you will at least help me to find my men.
That won't be necessary, I assure you. Your good friend Dumas will find him easily enough. And now, madame, pardon me, but I must leave. I only came here to speak a word of pity to your son and pay my respects to you.
But, Count, why do you need to leave us so soon? You haven't even rested after your journey. Pray, sir, have a seat while I call my servants to set some refreshment before you.
Well, I cannot stay, sorry. Albert, remember what I told you. Do not put your trust on a duel, but on a carefully planned revenge.
Strange, very strange.
Strange indeed, mother. Why he is submitting to dueling? What does he know about revenge?
I was not speaking of dueling for revenge. Have you never observed, Albert, that on his visits to your home, the Count of Montecristo has never accepted any kind of refreshment?
Strange now you have mentioned it.
It's an Arab costume, isn't it? Never to eat food in the house of a deadly enemy.
Who can you mean? In what sense the Count of Montecristo can be looked upon or deadly enemy?
In no sense, my son. A man who has shown us both so many kindness and who once actually saved your life. And yet.
The Count of Montecristo.
So, you have heard of it, my dear wife. You have heard of my disgrace.
All parties are sort of fit, sir.
And since we were very good friends before, I take it we're not likely to be better friends now. But tell me, who's the man who just driven away his carriage?
The Count of Montecristo.
Ah, mysterious stranger. The kind, the noble. The Count who has taken all Paris by storm. And what did the Count want with us?
He called us a matter of politeness, father. I was on holiday with him recently in Normandy, but I was forced to return to Paris in order to see after your affairs.
My affairs, yes.
Yes, sir. Now, if Monsieur Beauchamp...
Monsieur Beauchamp.
Pardon me, my dear Countess, and you, sir, and you too, Albert. For the last hour I have been very active in my inquiries.
Quick, sir! What you have discovered? I know you have discovered something. What is it?
I discovered the name of the man who brought about your father's disgrace.
Oh, my disgrace. Who caused this? Speak, sir.
The name will surprise you.
Heaven's sake, man!
It is a man whose name you wouldn't, I believe, have thought of. He is the Count of Montecristo.
Ah, the Count of Montecristo. My enemy. I have always distrusted him. And I'm right.
Beauchamp, are you sure?
But why? What reason? What purpose? Why?
Beauchamp, are you quite sure of this?
I'm perfectly sure. I have proof which no man can doubt. He is your man.
But the Count is of our friend. He has saved us in many ways, and he has saved my son from death.
Nevertheless, he is the one who brought about this disgrace to your family.
Beauchamp, you will be my second?
Your second? You don't mean to carry matters so far?
I mean to go to the Count of Montecristo without delay. I mean to fight him. I mean to give him a choice of weapons. And if he chooses swords, as he undoubtedly will, for he is a skillful swordman, I mean that at daybreak tomorrow, the point of my sword shall pierce him with all heart.
It is well said, my son. Nothing less will satisfy me or the house of Monsieur.
But Albert!
Madam, I cannot state arc. I go to receive and apologize or to make a challenge. I have much work to do. Come, Beauchamp.
Are you aware, my dear husband, that there is an old Arab custom never to break bread in the house of an enemy?
I do not understand what you mean.
Simple this, that at some time in your life you must have made a deadly enemy of the Count of Montecristo.
I have sent for you, my dear Morel, because I need your help in a very important matter.
I heard you intend to fight a duel, and you're going to ask me to help you as your second.
Yes, you have guessed right.
May I know who you are going to fight?
Certainly, Albert, the son of the Count of Morcerf.
Indeed, one of your closest friends. In what way have you offended him?
I, Morel, I have done nothing. Here he came half an hour ago with his friend Beauchamp and challenged me to a duel.
And what was your answer?
I agreed without hesitation. I allowed him choose his weapons, and he chose swords. Tomorrow we meet at the Bois de Vincent.
And what will you do with him?
What shall I do with him? I shall kill him before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Pardon me, sir. There is a lady to see you.
What lady, Bertuccio?
She wears a veil over her face and I do not know her name.
Well, Count, I will see to this business of the Jew. I will return later.
Edmond Dantes, don't kill my son.
What? Edmond Dantes?
Edmond Dantes, do you think I don't know you? Do you think I don't know that the name of the Count of Montecristo hides the name of a man who I once promised to marry?
Well, you found out who I am. What is your business with me?
I know everything that has passed between you and my son. For the sake of our family name, he's challenged you, and tomorrow morning he will fight you. Isn't that so?
He's challenged me, madame, yes. And tomorrow morning I shall kill him. I don't see how I can help killing him.
Edmond, for the heaven's sake, hear me! Is it you who caused a quarrel by bringing disgrace upon our family? I ask you why.
Why should I do such a thing? I will answer your question by telling you a story, madame. But there was also in that city another young man, a fisherman, an evil man, who crafted the most devilish plan to win Mercedes' heart. He produced papers to show that the young sailor was a traitor to his country. He was found guilty and sentenced to pass the rest of his life in an underground prison.
Edmond, I beg you to believe that of this devilish plan I knew nothing whatever.
You, madame, why should you know anything?
Edmond, why will you go on with this play acting? You know well that you are that young sailor who was tried and thrown into prison, and I am that Catalan girl you were to have married. And you know...
I know that your husband is the man who accused me wrongfully and caused me to pass 14 years of my life in black darkness underground.
Edmond,
Madame, 14 years is a large part of a man's life. Time enough to plan my revenge. And since chance favored me, I escaped prison. I traveled, I did well, I have grown rich, and you?
I married him, the Fernand Mondego, the weak Fernand Mondego. But I swear to you that I knew nothing of his weakness, and all men told me you were dead. I was soon to find out how bad and heartless he was.
Can you then blame me for following him as I have done? Can you then blame me for finding out his secrets until I found out that it was he, not I, that was a traitor to his country?
No, Edmond, I cannot blame you if you demand a far worse revenge for 14 years of wrongful imprisonment. But why? Why must your revenge fall on my son as well as on my husband? My son has never done you wrong, Edmond. He loves and admires you. You saved his life once. Why did you save it then if you have decided to take it now? Edmond, it's more than 20 years since that young sailor loved that Catalan girl. I can't expect to move your heart now, but will you not, remembering the past, listen to the prayers of one who never knowingly wronged you and who always respect and admire you?
What do you ask of me? Your son's life? Very well, he shall live.
Oh, thank you, Edmond. You're a very noble man.
Well, I'm glad you think so, but I'm afraid I won't live enough to enjoy it.
What do you mean, Edmond?
Well, I mean that since you command me, Mercedes, I must die.
Die, Edmond? Who say anything of dying?
You don't suppose that I can end this quarrel and beg your son's pardon? No, Mercedes. A challenge has been issued, and tomorrow morning a duel must take place. But it will be my blood and not your son's that will stain the ground.
But Edmond, you mustn't die. Edmond, you shan't die when...
Enough, Mercedes. It is settled. Leave me now.
No, Edmond, I beg to you.
No. Mercedes, your son won't die tomorrow. Leave me now. I don't want to see it.
It's 9 o'clock. We were to have met an hour ago, and we should have had some certain news by now. Listen, is that the sound of a carriage?
No, I heard nothing.
I must say, madame, that you're taking this whole situation very calmly. One would think that it is nothing to you that your son's life is in the balance. What if Albert is brought home dead? For heaven's sake, why don't you say nothing?
I don't think that Albert will be brought home dead. I think it's another man who, unless I'm wrong, has died this morning.
You think so? I wish I had your faith in our son's good aim. And remember, the David Montecristo is said to be an excellent swordsman. And remember, it is he who will shoot first.
Nonetheless, I think Albert will go victorious from the field. In some ways I wish it were not.
Why? Why would you wish such a thing?
Because his safety will be paid for by the death of an honorable man.
I don't understand. In what way is Montecristo honorable? Or are you like all women, prepared to pity the man who loses, even though he's a weak man?
Fernand, after this affair of the duel is settled, I plan to leave Paris and go away. And Albert has promised to go with me.
So, in my disgrace, when I'm most in need of support, you leave me alone. I expected it. But listen, I hear a carriage. Albert has returned.
Pray God the poor boy is safe.
The poor boy, but a moment ago you were pitying the poor man.
Monsieur, there was...
Albert, you're alive and well, thank God!
My son, Albert, you have done well. Come and embrace me.
If you thank me, Father, I think it's right that you will know what happened this morning.
I have no desire to know the details. It is enough to me that you have killed Montecristo and come back to me alive.
I beg to you for your attention. I have something important to say. The Count of Montecristo not only promised to spare my life, he also told my mother why he had tried to bring our family into disgrace. He made it clear that it was neither she nor I who was his enemy. All his enmity was against you.
Against me? But I hardly know the man.
So you think, however, to continue. After my mother has spoken to him, the Count decided to spare my life and to die in my place. All this my mother told me upon her return. Today, as I walked to the meeting place in Bois de Viennes, I made up my mind what I must do. The Count of Montecristo was waiting, and with him were his 2 seconds. Without hesitation, I went up to him, and for having insulted him, and I returned and challenged him to a duel in humbly begged his pardon. I told him that because of what my mother had told me, I considered that his attempts to disgrace were perfectly right.
You begged his pardon.
I apologize most humbly and hope he will continue to be my friend.
You, who should have been the first to defend your father. It is too much.
Albert, you have acted nobly, and the countess is still living.
He's still living. I breakfast with him, and he come with me to his home. Showing the Count of Montecristo.
Sir, my son has just told me a strange story.
Sir, I am about to tell you a stranger one.
That you had a meeting this morning.
I had. It is to find that I came here.
Are you prepared?
Yes, sir.
You know that we have to fight until one of us is dead.
Until one of us is dead.
Oh no, Father!
Edmund!
The Count of Montecristo is revenge.